I overheard my wife tell her brother she's divorcing me soon, and her lawyer says they can take half my business. I built my food truck empire from one beat-up van while supporting Lisa through her MBA. Now I have 12 trucks across the city pulling in serious money, but her family always saw me as the sandwich guy she'd outgrow. Her dad, Richard, constantly made jokes about my little lunch business at every family gathering. Her mom, Patricia, would introduce me as Lisa's husband who makes food, like I was some kind of servant. Her brother, Mark, openly said I was holding Lisa back from her potential and that she deserved someone with a real career. After hearing that conversation at their family barbecue, I didn't confront her. I went ice cold and got strategic about this whole situation. See, Lisa helped with my books early on when we couldn't afford an accountant. She knew where every penny went, or so she thought. What she didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything for years and had way more assets than she realized. Monday, I met with my business attorney and discovered Lisa had been asking questions about business valuations for months. She'd even contacted my suppliers asking about partnership opportunities and my client contracts. She'd been planning this divorce for over a year. Tuesday, I quietly restructured everything, moved major assets to a holding company I'd set up years ago for tax purposes, created an LLC for my real estate investments that Lisa never knew about. Wednesday, I hired a private investigator and found out Lisa wasn't just planning to leave. She was starting a competing gourmet food service with her business partner, Ryan, using insider information about my routes, clients, and pricing strategies. They'd been meeting at hotels for months. Thursday, I called Ryan's wife, Jennifer. Sweet woman, had no idea her husband was working late constantly. Showed her photos of Ryan and Lisa at restaurants across town. She thanked me and said she'd been suspicious for months but needed proof. Friday morning, Lisa woke up to divorce papers next to her coffee, along with a cease and desist letter for corporate espionage and theft of trade secrets. Her face went white. Evan, we can work this out. I made a mistake here. The only mistake was mine, I said, thinking you actually loved me instead of seeing me as a meal ticket. She called her parents immediately. I could hear Richard screaming through the phone when she told him about the divorce papers. Then came the panic when she mentioned the business was worth way more than they thought. See, my little lunch business was actually worth $2.8 million, not the $200 they assumed. I owned the buildings where 6 trucks were stationed, had contracts with 3 major corporate campuses, was in talks to franchise nationwide. Monday came the desperate calls. Richard suddenly wanted to discuss things like gentlemen. Patricia left voicemails saying they'd always supported my entrepreneurial spirit. Mark texted asking if we could grab a beer and talk about everything. Too late. Lisa got nothing in the divorce. Ryan's wife, Jennifer, got half his consulting firm and full custody of their kids. 2 weeks later, Patricia showed up at my main truck location downtown, crying and begging. We never meant to hurt you, Evan. You're like a son to us and we love you. I reminded her that sons don't get called the help at family dinners and treated like servants. Mark tried a different approach, showing up at my office with a business proposal. Wanted to partner with me on expanding the franchise. Same guy who used to joke that I'd never amount to anything beyond flipping burgers. I had security escort him out immediately. Richard was the most desperate of all. He'd lost clients after word spread about how his family treated me. Turns out several of his investors were also my customers who'd heard the whole story. Small city, big consequences for bad behavior. He cornered me at the grocery store, practically begging with tears in his eyes. Evan, please, just have coffee with me. We can fix this somehow. You spent 5 years telling everyone I wasn't good enough for your daughter. Now you want to fix things because my net worth has more zeros than you thought? His face crumbled completely. We made a huge mistake, the biggest mistake of our lives. You made your choice, I said coldly. Now live with the consequences of that choice. Last week, Lisa showed up at my house at midnight, drunk and sobbing uncontrollably. Evan, I threw away everything. My family's ruined. Ryan won't even talk to me. I have absolutely nothing left. You had everything, I told her calmly. You just couldn't see past your own greed and arrogance.